there were two things that helped me a lot with regard to being able to pick up sheet music and read the notes a bit quicker. And one is the acronym Jibbity Face. It sounds funny, but it's easy to remember. GBD Face. And the reason why this is so helpful to me is because I find that it's one single rule that I can apply to both the treble clef and the bass clef. And the one rule with that acronym is if the note that I'm looking at is falling on the lines, then it's Jibbity Face is the acronym I use. And if the note is on the empty space between the lines, then I use Face Jibbity. And I apply that to both the treble clef and the bass clef. So that helped me. And then the other thing is to recognize intervals, to be able to look at the distance between two notes. So, for example, if I have C, E, and G on the keyboard, let's just say on the treble clef, like you see it up there on the top left, I can recognize that as a triad. And I know that this right here, see that flashing note here, is middle C. So I know that this is a C major triad because I know that those notes are a third apart from each other. So that's a third right there. This is a third right there. And this right here is a second. So I know if you can tell those notes apart very easy, the D is right after the C there, up on top, then you know how to read that very easy. Now it starts getting a little more complicated once you go higher than this. Now that's a fourth. So in general, your interval is an even number if one of the notes that you're looking at is on a line and one is not on a line. So like for example, an octave, this is a good one to be able to recognize. This distance, after a while you can just glance at two notes like that and recognize, oh, that's an octave. If they're really far apart from each other, almost always an octave, and they're not, if one's on a line and one's not on a line, they're almost always, it's almost always an octave. And so, then you have a fifth right here. Now, if it's an odd interval, like a 5 or a 3, they're both either going to be on a line or they're both going to be not on a line, on the space in between. So, that helped. And then one last bonus tip, actually, is another thing that helped was games. There's some games out there. I can link in the description as well. There's games that you can play on your phone, even away from the keyboard or piano, that help drill these notes into your instinct, into your memory, so that you can recall them very quickly. And so you can play those every once in a while and start to get quicker at this. But ultimately, playing music from a sheet, that's going to be the best thing for you. But it helps to jump into it and be less bored and less discouraged if you can recognize the notes quicker. So hopefully take these tips, and hopefully it helps you speed up a little bit in your sheet reading.